Hey guys, in today's video, I want to talk about how I properly secure my handgun in a bag. Unfortunately, I've known some people who would show up to a range with literally just their gun tossed in a bag, and yeah, that's really not safe. If it's unloaded, maybe you can argue how safe that is. But for someone who is a pro off-body carry type of person and supports two-way, I think it's right for you guys to see the type of options that are out there and that I've personally used. So if you've seen my other content, I have a lot of bags. Mostly are from Vertx, and what I've been using for the longest time is a modular style holster from CrossBreed. Now in this video, I want to talk about 3 specific different ways, and each one of those has a pro and a con to it. So going back to the CrossBreed holster, yes, it has worked good for me, but it has limitations. And when I first started purchasing them, I think I have about 3 or 4 now, it was kind of limited to the brand of firearm you had, and then even more limited if you wanted a light. Honestly, I don't think many of the options I looked at even had a light option at that time. I've recently looked and they kind of expanded that a little bit. So the pro of it is you already got your hook and loop right on there. You can throw it in a small bag. It works really, really well for small bags. So something that's more like a fanny pack, that would be the route I'd suggest, is having a modular small design, because it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. But it also could fit in a large bag, and it could give you the option to have multiple different setups. The downside, and here's the one thing I've learned as I've gotten into firearms, is you never have just one gun, and you always start getting more. So do you really want to have multiple holsters for multiple guns? It starts to get kind of out of hand. So when I made my recent purchase of the CZ Shadow 2, I didn't want to go and have to get multiple holsters for that. I'd rather find a more minimalist way, because it's not going to be my last firearm. So I don't want to have, 100 different holsters in 10 years. It's too much. So what I'm trying to do is find ways to minimalize and keep it simple for my collection as it grows. So I'll put some pictures up here so you can kind of see what Vertx shows as their stock pictures and what I personally have used. I use it for my macro right now. I have my wife using it with her P365X. It's a really great option for a smaller bag, because once you add a holster in there that's more of a traditional size, it's a much larger item, and in a fanny pack style bag, you don't have that space. So the second option I want to talk about, and I'm not trying to be brand specific with this one, I'll mention the one I've personally bought, but I've noticed in my research that there's a lot of different companies that offer this. It's going to be some sort of hook and loop attachment. Now Vertx sells this thing, I think it's called the Belt Adapter Panel. Really weird name. Not shocked that I didn't find this the first time I was looking for something like this, because it's not a name I would correlate to a product like this. So Vertx, if you're watching this, maybe come up with a better name so people can find this easier. But yeah, I bought 2 of these to test these out, and I noticed they work in a variety of ways. I'll include the stock picture that they show, and then I'll show you also 2 different ways that I've used it, because what I like about that specific product is the modularity of it. Is you can actually change up the configuration to fit different bags. And the one thing I've noticed with the different holsters I have is each one of them wants to fit that thing differently. So it's not a one size fits all. Depending on where your red dot is cut and where the actual belt attachment to the holster sits, it may not work a certain way. Like I know right now, the Works holster I have for my CZ Shadow 2, there was no way I was really gonna get that sitting the way it wanted to sit in the stock pictures without it actually rubbing against that optic. And as someone who plans on carrying this and drawing from this, the last thing I want to do is add some other barrier in there that can affect things on a draw. So I played around with it a lot. I got a little bit creative, and you'll see in the pictures I include here that for me, that setup worked best. I've tested the draw. It works well. It's super secure. And then I'll also include how I set it up with my Glock, because that holster was dramatically different than my Vertx holster. And I could actually make that fit a smaller space. So products like that, because I think 511 has one. I may have come across 2 others too when I was gonna purchase one of these for myself. I noticed in general, since I got into carry, this market space has been expanding, which is awesome. It gives us more options. But ultimately, what I want to help you guys do is make the right choice so that you guys are carrying safely. Now, the third option I'm going to suggest is something I was told and heard of from a few different people. I've not personally tried this one, but when I explain it, you'll understand how it makes sense. Typically, you just have your regular holster, and what you can do is apply to the one side of that holster hook and loop tape. 3M makes this tape. I was actually about to do this to my new holster right before I found the attachment from Vertx. Now, what's cool about this is it's not another piece that you have to add, as in the sense of like an accessory you have to worry about carrying. It's always on your holster. I can't speak to how comfortable that is if you also want to carry that on body. I'm not sure if it will feel scratchy depending which side you use. I'm not sure if it will get hung up on clothes, but I wouldn't think being hook and loop that it would. So this is something I plan on testing out in the future. But again, that could be a cheaper, simpler approach. And you basically, I was looking at the 1-inch by foot strips that you could cut. You'd basically just, take the pieces and lay it down along the spots of the holster that you want it to hook to. So in theory, it sounds really easy. It sounds like it will work, and it's something I plan on testing out down the road. I got a few more holsters on order right now, and as they come in, I'm going to dedicate one of them to this style. But really, the gist of it, guys, is I want you guys to make the right choice and make the safe choice. Because if you guys are going to carry, you guys got to carry safe, right? Especially we see these new videos coming out with different pistols that are firing on their own, right? I'm not going to throw any names out there and bash brands and whatnot, but like you want to make sure your gun is safely in a holster, that nothing can get to that trigger. And ideally, you don't want that holster just flopping around in a bag, right? You want it secure. So here's 3 methods. I hope they helped you. If you have other suggestions or you have better ideas than I've suggested, please tell me. I'm open to whatever you guys can think of. I'm open to trying new things. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help you. You guys can help me in return. I appreciate the comments. So let me know what you guys think. Have a good one.